Hi, you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I wanted to come on today and I wanted to talk about, the things that we are watching, the things that we are entertaining. So the eye is a lamp of the body. And this is in Matthew 6:22 and 23. And the verse goes, the eye is a lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. If your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And how great is that darkness? So entertaining things that have no value, to your soul. So we know something that's very common that a lot of folks have watched in the past or do watch, it is porn and how it affects, the expectation of the person that they are with or the person that they are looking for, within their life, in their relationship, and sometimes friendships. It becomes like an addiction. They begin searching for something that is not real, and they develop this craving, this habit for something that they see that is not particularly real, because we know that porn stars or actors or whatever you want to call them, they're acting. They do their job, or whatever they're getting paid to do, that's what they do. We know that everything that we see on TV and we see on the internet is not necessarily real. So a lot of things give us a expectation that is false. Then it also goes to, this is very common, videos of people fighting, people, cursing. So, those things are being embedded into our heart to be, violent, to be confrontational, things like that. People and videos promoting infidelity, adultery, fornication. Those things are pretty much, it's just lust, and that still ties into porn. But those things are lust. So when we are entertaining certain things, those things get attached to us. Meaning, just like it said in the scripture, our eyes are the gates to our heart. So whatever we entertain, those things become embedded into our hearts. So that's why it's very mindful that we watch what we're doing, what we're saying, the things that we are jokingly laughing about. Because just be honest, we live in a society where they make videos all the time about a spouse cheating, a side chick, or a mistress, and it goes both ways with men and women. People doing drugs and stuff about people fighting, just dark humor, and we find these things funny. We've filled our minds up with these things, and like more often than now, people are watching porn, more freely. It's become a thing of the new normal, and we have to get back to a place of, these things are not normal. When you have actually been through a situation or have actually seen how, the effects of the things of the world have affected your life and your families, it doesn't become funny. So, we see these videos of these side chicks or people doing drugs, it's funny in the videos, but when you've lived that, when you have seen that, it's not funny. And we've made something that is dark funny. So it's like we are accepting chaos, we are accepting dysfunction. It's not the way that God intended for things to be. God is not the author of confusion. So all those things that we entertain and we laugh at, and the things that people do, it's not funny because that's not of God. And people think, this is just how our life is, just this is how we grew up and this is what we know. But just because that's something that you grew up on and that's something that that does not make it right. So we have to consciously, search our hearts and search our minds, of the things that, we have grown up on, things that we have seen that we deemed as right, because it's not always right. So the next one is, so as we entertain these things, the craving gets planted in our hearts. So after something gets planted into our hearts, we begin to speak those things. And then as we begin to speak those things, then we begin to do them. So that's why they always say, it is very crucial of the things that you speak and the things that you say, because you bring life to them. So if you have something embedded into your heart, you're watching something that you aren't supposed to be watching, that gets embedded into your heart, then your heart develops a craving for whatever it is that you're allowing to come in, and then you begin to speak those things, and then you begin to act those things out in a willingly and sometimes unwillingly manner, because sometimes these things will overtake you. The spirit of lust and Jezebel and, all the other ones that may come with it, depending on what you're opening yourself up to. It's going to come with a lot of baggage, warfare that, you may not even be equipped to handle. Many times we think that, we're just trying to do something just for the moment, but just because it's fun and just because you like it or you find it interesting or you're curious about it. But it's once you open that door, it is very, very hard to close it, because once you open it, you have given the enemy access to come in. You are telling the enemy, I'm allowing you into my house. So we know that, in John, it says that, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So that's what he will do. You invite him in, and then he comes and he starts destroying things. And at first, it always starts with, what you see, the things that you perceive, in your mind. He wants to trick and pervert the things that we see, so that those emotions can get into our hearts, and so that we begin to operate off of emotions. And when we begin to operate off of emotions, sometimes we feel like, we are right. Whatever the situation is, we can be dead wrong. But since we are operating off of our emotions, we feel like we are right. We feel like what we're doing is right, what we're saying is right, what we're entertaining is right, because the enemy has tricked us. And once he tricks us with what we see, it got embedded into our hearts. So what we're speaking, we're believing that at the time because it's in our hearts. Then we are speaking things that go with how our hearts feel. And then we begin to act these, emotions out onto ourselves or onto, other people. So we know that we have to keep our bodies in check. That's very important. And, we're not going to be perfect, but we can do the best that we can to, guard ourselves and, our ways that we know how. So in 1 Corinthians 9:27, it says, but discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. So that means, keeping ourselves in check. That's why it's so important. That's why one of the biggest things, that we as followers of Christ have to continuously do is crucify our flesh, because our flesh is, it can get out of control. It can get out of whack. We know that, if we are being driven by emotions, that means that's our flesh. That means our flesh is strong. So for us to weaken our flesh so that we are not driven and what's that word? Driven and controlled. There we go. Controlled by our flesh. We have to fast often, and allow God to lead you into the fast. And what he wants you to do. Pick specific things, you need for him to do, or specific things that you don't know or do know, to ask him and get some scriptures and read it and meditate on those things. Because we know that, our flesh it can get out of control. The world that we live in, it's so sexualized down to kids. Kids can't even be kids without all this extra baggage that, you know, the media and the world and all these other people that are trying to push and pervert and distort, you know, what God has intended to be good in the first place, as in, you know, how we were supposed to live and, you know, families and households. But he has now taken households and how they're supposed to be ran, and, you know, it's being perverted into, you know, many different doors. And we know that God didn't intend for our lives to be like that. You know, the enemy has corrupted some of our minds so bad that we think that our life is built on chaos. You know, people think that, or the enemy has a lot of us thinking that, you know, our life is going to be based on what we can get right now and what we feel like we deserve, you know, what the world says that we deserve. No, you do not deserve what the world says you deserve. You know, you deserve whatever, you know, God says you deserve. You know, you have to have enough confidence and enough, you know, understanding and first off belief in God that, you know, you are worth more than what the media and maybe what your mom or dad or family has said about you. You know, we've all been through life. We've been through things, and your past does not define you. You know, just because, you know, you have been maybe a stripper or someone on the streets, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, that does not define you. And people think that, you know, once you've been in a situation and once you've entertained certain things, you know, that you're pretty much ruined goods. And that's not, you know, that's not true. That's further from the truth. We know that we all go through situations so that we are able to help other people. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what we go through. Our job is not to judge other people, but our job is to help where we can, you know, pray for them, and we move on. That's what we do. We are never supposed to judge. Yeah, we can call out, you know, facts, you know, at the time being it, and if that's what you're supposed to do at that time. But, you know, we can't judge somebody for something that they are doing or something they aren't doing, because you don't know where they are in their lives. So with that being said, you know, we have to stay strong and we have to stay positive, and we have to always seek God and seek the things that, you know, we don't understand. Because, you know, when we are operating off of emotions, off of things that we don't understand, and we're just doing things off of what feels good to our flesh by us watching things or acting out certain things, you know, that will get us into a place that it would be hard to get out of. You know, we dig a hole, and it's like a craving. You know, you're craving for food. You know, once we open a door to one thing, and people think that, you know, and we all think that sometimes, you know, it's just like eating a piece of chocolate. If you like chocolate, you know that, you know, if the doctor's already told you, you know, don't eat chocolate. And if you do, you know, try to keep it to one piece every week or something like that. I don't know. But we as people, you know, we don't know our limits. We'll eat a piece of chocolate and be like, "Ooh, this is good. Let me get another one." And you'd be like, "Didn't the doctor say you weren't supposed to be eating chocolate like that?" Well, yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Then you get another piece of chocolate, then another piece of chocolate, and you just keep going, because for chocolate lovers, chocolate is so addicting. It's good. It's rich. You know, we like it. And then our senses, our flesh rises up and it says, "I want more. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more." Then you get into a place where, you know, you didn't ate about a whole bag of candy that you weren't even supposed to have. But since you entertained that one piece of candy, you know, you are now taking in more than what you were supposed to take in. So us getting our flesh under control, to being able to identify, you know, this is wrong. I'm not going to entertain it. You know, I'm not going to entertain these people. I'm not going to entertain this situation. I'm not even going to entertain what they're doing, the conversation or the issue that is happening at hand, you know, that people are presenting. And just because somebody else is doing, everyone else is doing something, you know, the trends or whatever it is, you know, just because we see that, that does not mean that it's right. Just because everybody's doing it, it does not mean it's right. Everybody can be wrong, and you can be that one person that be like, "I'm not doing it," and be right. but everyone else is looking at you like, well, why aren't you doing what we're doing? And they're like, and you're just like, because, I don't feel it's right. And people will shame you and bash you for doing the right thing. And that's fine and that's okay. But that's where our walk is. We have to walk in truth, no matter what everybody else is doing, no matter what everybody else feels. We just have to walk. That's it. We are not to judge folks, you know what I mean? We correct them, or, we tell them, take it to the Lord, whatever they got to do. And we keep pushing and we keep fighting and, we stay in our lanes. But our biggest thing is we have to protect the things that we see. Just because everybody else is doing that does not mean that you need to do it. You need to entertain it. You need to do this to get by. You don't need to do it. You know what I mean? We take every burden that we have, we are to take it to the Lord. We as people don't understand what that means. Take it to the Lord, take it to the Lord. Like, what does that mean? I can't literally just disconnect the emotions and set it to him. You know what I mean? We feel like that's literally what happens, but we go to God and tell him, this hurt and this pain, or this addiction for porn, or this addiction for, sleeping with women or men. God, I give this to you because I don't understand how I got here. Why am I entertaining this? Why do I feel this way? Why am I surrounded by these people? Why is my body so out of control that when these things come about, it takes over my mind, or it has my body doing things that I necessarily don't want to do, but my body is taking control over me. And it makes me feel like it's right because it feels good to me and I feel satisfied in that moment, but then I feel bad later. Those things like that, you need deliverance from. But, giving it to God so he can tell you what the root problem is from it. But the first thing is we have to starve the things that, that are harming us, that are harming our families, that are harming our futures. We give it to God. We say, God, here, these are these emotions or things that I feel or I'm going through, or, whatever it is, I give it to you, meaning, God, can you deal with this? You said that, to bring all my burdens to you. So I'm setting my burden right here on the altar. So that means quit thinking about it, pray about it and fast about it, because some things only come through, some deliverances only come through fasting and prayer. So you give it to God. Don't keep thinking about it, and you keep moving forward. You pray about it, you fast about it. If God leads you to do that, to fast, and then you just keep going, and then he will reveal to you the things that you need to do. But in the meantime, don't keep entertaining it. You can't keep entertaining it. You have to take a one step to disconnecting from doing something that you have been doing. So once you take one step, God will take two. So he needs to know that you are serious. And God already knows if you come to him lying, and if you come to him with a halfway heart, and you come to him try to play games and be foolish, he already know before you get there. He said, oh Lord, please help me not to, watch no more porn videos or fight videos, or please let me, not keep messing with this side dude or side chick or this or that. God help me. But you already, before you even end your prayer, you thinking about what you're going to text to them, or you thinking about what video you finna go watch. You know what I mean? If your heart is not in it, God is not going to work for you, because he can't work for you because your heart, the door, you're not giving him access. And a lot of people, a lot of us, we get into a place where, we're saying we're praying to God, we're doing this, we're doing that, he's not helping me, but you're still willingly, your heart still wants to do something, and you already know that you're not taking any steps to put any boundaries. So you're praying and not giving any effort into, work. You're not putting any work in, and then God knows, okay, you're not serious. You are not serious. You're going to continue to do what you're doing. And then we go and ask people, can you pray for me? Can you pray for me? Yeah, people have been praying for you for years, and you're still doing the same thing, because sometimes, we don't take the steps when we're not serious. We may say it because we know that's what we're supposed to say. But once somebody wants to change and they get it in their heart, and you say, God, whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it. then that's when God and that's when your situation will change. And sometimes we may not see a change physically, but we will identify or begin to see a change in our hearts, in the inside. We may be, the situation may come up again and be like, I don't really feel like it today. Or the desire that you have in your heart, it begins to fade away. And then you find yourself doing something less and less, entertaining something less and less. And then one day you're going to look up and be like, oh, I can't even remember the last time I watched one of them videos, or when's the last time I even talked to this person, or when's the last time I even did this or did that. It's a process. You take one step, God takes two. But we have to be serious. God does not want us going to him being phony and being fake with a lying heart. We know that repentance without changed behavior is just manipulation. And we can't manipulate God. We cannot. Be honest with him. Say, God, I like this. I like doing what I'm doing. But I know in my heart it's not right. Help me. God say, okay. I can work with that because you are first honest with yourself, because you have identified that there is an issue, that there is a problem. Once you acknowledge and identify that, God says, okay. Now your heart is open to him to receive whatever he needs to do for you. And it's a process. It's going to take time. And that's what we have to understand. We think that we're going to be delivered from something from overnight. It doesn't work that way. We have to take the steps to set boundaries. Starve your distractions. If something has such a great hold on you to where you can't even function, you got to starve it. I mean, starve it. Turn down your plate. Starve it. You got to get to a place you're desperate. Desperate enough. If God say don't eat for 3 days and go on a water fast, you got to be that desperate. I want this deliverance that bad. I will sit here and be hungry. I want this thing off of me so bad. Or I want to do better this bad. God, I will do this. You got to get into a place to where you're desperate to get out of your situation. Desperate to move forward, to break those chains off of you, those generational curses, those learned behaviors. We have to continuously be in a place to where we are saying, nope, I'm not accepting that. I'm not going to accept that. And I'm talking about the lies that the enemy tells us. We will always be broke. We'll always be, like our moms or our dads or our families or other people. You'll always be unworthy. Nobody will love you. You've been through this and that. Nobody will take you serious, or, whatever it is. We know that the devil is a liar. You call it out and speak the things that aren't as though they were. Speak the things that God has said, that we are to have. We speak it because our words are life. We have to disconnect ourselves from chaos and confusion. The enemy comes to divide us. So he wants to divide us in our minds. He wants to divide the relationship that we have with God. So he can pervert the things that we think. He wants to pervert our thinking. He wants to pervert our minds. He wants to pervert our hearts. Once we know the word and we know that what God says we are and what God offers us and gives us on a daily basis, the enemy can't come and try to confuse you. But when he comes, you're going to know this ain't from God. This voice ain't from God. So that's why we have to keep our minds and the things that we see under control. There's going to be things that we can't, there's going to be things that we see that we can't stop from seeing. But I'm saying the things that you willingly do, you willingly watch, the things you willingly entertain. We have to set boundaries. And at any cost, we have to make sure that we are being conscious in the things that we're doing. Don't feel bad not doing something because you feel like you're going to hurt somebody else's feelings. So what? You're not going to get your deliverance because you worried about what somebody else is going to say or how somebody else is going to feel. At the end of the day, they're going to do what they want. We have to stop worrying about other people, other people going to judge us or feel some type of way because we want deliverance. We want to elevate. We don't want to be like them anymore. That's what life is about. Growing, learning, elevating, change. That's what life is. You can't stop change because change is always going to change. We either change with the times or change with the seasons of God, or we be stuck in a vicious cycle of confusion, chaos, struggle, lack, disappointment, sadness, depression. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to live a life of misery. Nobody wants to live a life of depression, of feeling like, why am I here? I don't have any purpose. Get out of the cycle. Push. Push yourself. Push others. If you don't have friends around you that are pushing you, get some new friends. We don't need friends that's talking to multiple women. Friends that are, dating multiple men. Operating in these different things. And when you go to them and ask them for advice, they don't have nothing to tell you but how to operate in more sin. We need friends that are going to push us, to help us stay accountable. We don't need friends that are not going to hold us accountable, but encourage us to be in more sin. We need friends that are going to make us level up. Friends that are teaching us. Friends that love us. Love us enough to say, you know what, girl, that ain't right. I'm going to check you on that one. Or how about you pray about that before you call and cuss this person out? Friends that, give you advice. Not friends that call and people that call, even family that call, telling you drama. Oh, she said this about you, or she did that, or look at this and look at that. Or you might as well go do this and that. We don't need people like that. Those people are miserable. If you don't, if they're not bringing value into your life, step away from them. Because this is our time to elevate. We don't have time for the foolishness, the shenanigans, and the charade that the enemy wants to bestow upon the people of God and on this earth. We cannot entertain it. Somebody comes to you with something foolish, tell them, get out, nope. It don't matter if you sound mean, it don't matter. I'm sorry, I'd rather sound a little mean than for you to come in and pollute my mind and have me questioning God. I'm not going to do it. We cannot do that. If you say you believe in God, you're a firm believer, you got to stick to that. And when somebody else comes to you with something that God didn't, align with what's going on, and it's pure chaos, and it's throwing you off track, tell them, say no. Quit talking to the person. Just, hey, how you doing? You all right? You need anything? Nope. Okay, cool. I'll talk to you later. Click. You're done. We have to stop giving people unauthorized access in our lives to get in there and play around. And then we wonder why we're all off track. We wonder why we're all confused after we talk to this person, and this person is sleeping well. Their mission, their assignment is done. Some people are being used by the enemy and they don't even know it. They call people just with drama. They call people and just start saying stuff that it's like, did you even think before you even said that? Did you think? Just ruthless, relentless. Just don't care. They just want what they want. They don't care. People like that are dangerous. And they are not in alignment. If someone's not in, God likes unity. If they're operating in division and divination, they need to stay over there. Because God likes unity. Where unity is, that's where God dwells. So God needs you and, whoever is in your circle, he needs y'all to be on one page. If somebody else is not on one page and not, in the alignment where God is saying it's okay for them to be in your life, you don't need to be around them. You need to disconnect yourself. And yes, there's sometimes God will send people in our lives where they are assignments. So we have to stop bringing assignments into, bringing them in as close as friends. Sometimes we have to help people from afar. Everybody doesn't need to be in our house. Everybody doesn't need to be in our circle. Everybody doesn't need to be in our phone. Everybody does not need to be that close. Everybody ain't a friend. Just because somebody helps you and someone's been there for years, that does not mean that they're your friend. The enemy comes and seeks, who he can devour day and night. It does not matter. It can be your own family. It does not matter. We get confused because of the relationship we have with a person. It clouds our vision and understanding